أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We continue our theme دروس عميقة من السيرة النبوية, profound lessons from the life of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa ashabihi wa sallam. Now when we analyze the life of the Prophet, we realize that he taught people around him in many different ways. Sometimes he would teach them by giving direct advice. Sometimes he would make a general statement by which people could learn, and much of the hadith is like that. Sometimes he would explicitly approve something or disapprove something. Or at times he would implicitly approve something. In other words, someone would do something and he would not say anything about it, which means he tacitly approved of it. Other times, he would rectify their mistakes and show them, if needs be, how to perform the action or what to do in a particular circumstance. And in all of these circumstances, the Muslims, those who were around him, the companions, radiallahu ta'ala anhum, they would copy him, and his noble example has thus become the standard for our behavior and our patterns of conduct. Now, there was this one case, according to the books of Seerah, documented in the Tabaqat of Ibn Sa'ad and also in Fi Rahiq al-Makhtoum, when the Prophet ﷺ and some of his companions went on a long journey, and after traveling for some time, they got tired and of course also hungry. So they stopped for a rest and decided maybe they should slaughter a lamb or a goat and cook some food and rest. And one person said, قال رجل علي ذبحها وقال آخر علي سلخها وقال آخر علي طبخها. One said, I will slaughter the lamb to prepare it for cooking. The other said, I would help to remove the skin and maybe cut the bone, whatever it may be, to prepare it for cooking. And the other one said, I will light the fire. Each one of the men said that they would do something very specific so that the work can be done efficiently and equitably, fairly. The Prophet ﷺ said, وَعَلَيَّ جَمُّ الْحَطَبِ, I will go and collect the firewood. The companion said, Ya Rasulullah, نَحْنُ نَكْفِيك, we are able to do it. There's no need for you to do anything, as we can manage to do the work. And the Prophet ﷺ said profound words. He said, قَدْ عَلِمْتُ أَنَّكُمْ تَكْفُونِي وَلَكِنْ أَكْرَهُ أَن تَمَيَّزَ عَلَيْكُمْ وَلَكِنْ أَكْرَهُ أَن أَتَمَيَّزَ عَلَيْكُمْ. Very beautiful. He said, I know that you can do the work, but I do not want preferential treatment. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَكْرَهُ مِنْ عِبَادِي أَن يَرَاهُ مُتَمَيِّزًا بَيْنَ أَصْحَابِهِ. Allah does not like for a person to be privileged or so distinguished with special treatment while his companions and friends around him go and do the work. وَقَامَ وَجَمَعَ الْحَطَبِ. And he got up and he went to fetch the firewood. You see, in life, though each person has to do their task, it doesn't mean someone must do your work for you. Each person has to do their task. That's part of responsibility. But the books of Seerah say about the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, النبي لن يتخلف عن المشاركة في أي مسؤولية. They say the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam never ever failed to share in any responsibility. If something was to be done, he was one of the people who would volunteer himself to do it. And this is very clearly evident in numerous books of Seerah as well as the hadith. We find it's well known how the Prophet ﷺ labored in the construction of Masjid Quba, which is the first mosque in Islam, and how he participated personally in the digging of the trench at Khandaq. He was being a leader who served as he led and continuously maintained a sublime sense of humility. Whether among his family, whether indoors or outdoors, with his companions, always helping, always uplifting, always guiding them, teaching people through his noble and immaculate example. A tabi' is a companion of the companion, someone who did not meet the Prophet, but who met those who met the Prophet. A tabi' by the name of Al-Aswad Al-Yazd, he said, and this is documented in Sahih of Imam Al-Bukhari, he said, I asked the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam after the passing of the Prophet, I asked her, ما كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يصنع في بيتي. What was the Prophet doing when he was at home? We know what he did outside. And what was he doing when he was in the house? And she said, كان يكون في مهنة أهله فإذا حضرت الصلاة خرج إلى الصلاة. The Prophet would do the household chores and any needs or errands of the family. And when it came time for prayer, then he went to the mosque for prayer. Such was the humble character and the helpful nature of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wassalatu wassalamu alayka ya Sayyidi ya Rasulullah. Shukran wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.